Welcome back. Today we have journeyed across the Ocean of Tears, and we will be starting our tour of the continent of Faydwer today. We will start up here at Kaladim, and we'll take a look at the Butcher Block Mountains, the Lesser Feydark, the Hills of Shade, Dagnor's Cauldron, the State of Unrest, and the Loping Plains, where Castle Mistmore is located. Well, here we are on the coast of Faydwer, and kaladim is just over here underneath that mountain, or it will be one day whenever I get around to building it. I'm not sure if I'm going to build this or Norrath first. They're both underground cities, but I don't know. I think I might want to go for Norrath. So just pretend we've gotten off a ship and there are docks here, and there is also a convenient road which leads us off into the Butcher Block Mountains, which are over along this way. This is a series of high sheer mountain peaks with sort of blunted tops, not unlike a Butcher Block itself, which presumably is where it gets its name. And there is a small river that cuts through the Butcher Block Mountains, a very small one. And here's another one over here that comes from a lake, and there's going to be a waterfall coming out of this mountain here. But if we head over this way, we will enter the Lesser Feydark. And here we have the Lesser Feydark coming into view. Of course, it's called the Lesser Feydark because it is smaller, but it's also rather a dark forest, evil and enchanted in its own way. And it sits between Rathnok's Ridge over here to the south and the northern Butcher Block Mountains. Also, the Hills of Shade are up here. But let's tuck down into the forest itself. And as we drop down into it, it is very murky and creepy in here. Lots of very dark areas that are going to be in need of lighting up in Minecraft. You'll get a lot of mobs in this forest, which is partially the intent. But I think I may add some by hand a few more trees to fill up these gaps. I think I want the canopy to be a bit more extensive than what I can get a World Painter to generate it as. I programmed these trees to be quite dense in here, but that's not quite the density that I'm looking for. That's something for the future. We have vines hanging down. I didn't put actual vines in here because the way those work in Minecraft, it would just take over the forest, and it's not suitable. While this is a very narrow forest, it's also a very long forest. As you can see, the road keeps going on over this way, and it eventually leads to the entrance to the Greater Feydark over this way. But that's not in this map today. That's going to be in tomorrow's tour. I can't wait to show you that, though. It's really good. I think you're going to like that a lot. But we will go over Rathnok's Ridge here, and we should see a lake and some dead trees coming into view. This is the Loping Plains area, and it is the home of Castle Mistmore. For those of you that don't know, Castle Mistmore is an enchanted castle ruled over by a very old dark elf vampire named Mayong Mistmore, which gives it its name. And the moors around here are also, well, as you might expect, very misty, which gives the whole region its name. And of course, Castle Mistmore itself is going to be sitting on top of these cliffs here whenever we get around to building it one day. I think it's going to be a very Gothic style castle, which, as some of you know, that's a building style I can do quite well, and I'm looking forward to building it. But it's quite far down on the list before we get to Castle Mistmore, but we will get to it. And there is, of course, a river here amongst all the dead pine trees. There may be a few too many dead pine trees. I might want to lower the density just a little bit. But I put some dead trees in here mixed in among the smaller living ones to make it just a little extra spooky. I hope it has that vibe to it. But let's come down here to the coast of the Loping Plains and head over this way. And we will get to Adagnor's Cauldron and the Estate of Unrest. And as we come over the mountain here, we can see the place where the Estate of Unrest is going to be located. It's, what is it? It's sort of an old, abandoned, haunted mansion is basically what it is. I think it was, I forget who built it actually. I don't think the dwarves built it, even though this is in their realm. But I've left a little clearing for the estate itself to be built down here. And it's in the middle of a sort of an idealistic birch forest is what I've done here. They've got some deciduous shrubs and some birch trees down here. And a little river that leads out from Adagnor's Cauldron, which is coming into view right now. I believe the cauldron itself was formed in, of course, an ancient cataclysm, as these things tend to be. And there are some sort of weeping willow trees I have around here. Even though they're birch trees, they're sort of like willow birches is what I'm going with. But in the middle of Adagnor's Cauldron, there is this central island. I don't think that's it. I think we have to go a little further north. Yeah, here it is. There's a central island in the middle of Adagnor's Cauldron. I don't think it's volcanic, even though it could have formed that way. We'll bring the sun back up so we can see what's going on around here. But it's a large freshwater lake, surrounded by trees, and this is the southern part of the Dwarven Kingdom itself. So presumably they will inhabit this region around here. Underneath the central area, I forgot to mention, is the location of Kedge Keep, which is going to be an underwater dungeon. Completely underwater. But that's also quite far down the list to build. I will eventually build it, but it's going to be a while. This mountain we're seeing coming into view up here, this is going to be the entrance to Kaladim, the underground dwarven city that I mentioned earlier. And here we have the entrance, the stream that we saw flowing through the Butcherblock Mountains earlier. And we are now back in the Butcherblock Mountains. And just around the bend up here is where we started at. So I hope you enjoyed today's tour. And I think next time we will start with the Greater Faydwer, and we will see the location of Kelthin and Crushbone and Fellwithe and Akanon and all those good places. Oh, there's also the Mushroom Island is coming up tomorrow. I can't wait to show you that. It's really come out pretty good. But that'll be next time.